Hey everybody, Adam here with Hometown Acres. Welcome back. 30 days ago today, we started a laser engraving business in here in our workshop by accident. I posted a video where I made one sign for one person, and since we posted that video, we have had 200,000 views on that video, which created a handful of orders. We did a video on that, which then in turn created another 10 or 15 orders. We did a video on that, which then in turn created another 15 or 20 orders. And this business is growing a lot faster than I would have ever imagined. Like I said, 30 days ago, and now we have a business in here in the shop that we could sustain our family on. And the only thing that's holding me back is I only have one laser. And today we're gonna get a second laser to hopefully keep our head above water with these orders that are coming in. Before we get to the new engraver, we've got to go ahead and get some blanks ready to engrave. And for that, I've got another new tool that I want to show you guys. Now, this is not sponsored. I bought this with my own money, but it is something that I have needed for a while now, and I have made do without, but I've had enough projects where I said, hey, I think that would be handy to have, and so I finally went out and got one. It's funny, neighbor Doug and I were actually having a conversation about borrowing tools from people and deciding when to actually go out and buy something, and him and I both have kind of the same rule. Once you borrow something from somebody twice, you likely have enough need for it that you should probably get your own. And I've not borrowed one of these 16 and 5/16 circular saws before, but I've had 3 or 4 jobs where I thought I could have used it. You know, when you have a sawmill, typically a lot of things that we're milling are 6x6s, and cutting a 6x6 that is accurate with a circular saw is challenging, especially a rough sawn 6x6. Your other option would be to use a chainsaw, which is not very accurate. And so I finally decided, you know, building the equipment shed over there would have been so much easier if I had this to build it. And now that we're getting into these custom engraved signs, and a lot of people are ordering their signs on this 3-inch thick white oak, a circular saw just is not, you're maxed out at 2 1/4. So I would either have to plane these all the way down to 2 1/4 so that I could actually cut them cleanly with the circular saw, or get a bigger saw. This max depth of cut on this skill saw is, I believe, 6 1/4. And if you're gonna cut at a 90-degree angle, I think it's like 4 inches or something. So you can actually cut a 90-degree 4x4 with this saw. So I'm pretty excited to have it. Haven't used it yet. We'll see how big and bulky and dangerous this thing is. I think it weighs like 27 pounds or something. So it's a heavy saw, but I'm pretty excited about it. Let's try it out. right guys, now that we have all of our blanks prepared, it's time to show you what our new second laser is going to be here for the business. This is the Xtool S1. Xtool sent us this to show here on the channel. If you know anything about laser engravers, you know that the brand to have in laser engravers is Xtool. They're kind of like the Apple of laser engravers. They have a very cult-like following. I am excited to get my hands on this and try it out to see if it's worth all the hype. There's a couple of key features that I'm really excited about this. We're going to show you here in a second. I'm going to skip all of the unboxing and all of the assembly. I find that stuff quite boring, but if you want to watch a really good boring video on unboxing and assembling this, check out my buddy Kyle at Spicer Designs.
Time for my lunch break. Getting anything out there? Ooh, it's got some weight to it. Oh.
He has this same exact laser, loves it. It's actually a big reason of why I wanted to get this specific laser. Well, did you go over to Kyle's channel and check out his unboxing and assembly video? It was boring, wasn't it? All right, all kidding aside, we are completely unboxed and assembled here. We have the Xtool S1, that's this unit right here, and then down below it is the riser base. We'll show you how that works here in a second. We've got our air purifier, which is going to be nice if you don't have access to a window to vent your smoke outside. These things put off a considerable amount of smoke, and if you don't have good ventilation in your shop or an air purifier, you've got to be able to get it outside. So this will be nice because even though we have access to a window, I'll still be able to move this cart and actually engrave anywhere in the shop if I need to, if I need to utilize this space here for something else. We also have the rotary attachment still in the box. Not going to be using that today, but we do have it. And we may be doing something with that here in the future as well. But I wanted to quickly go over some of the features and upgrades to this laser over my old one before we get started. First and foremost is just build quality, fit and finish, appearance. I didn't know a laser engraver could be sexy until I saw this thing. This is a really sharp looking unit. The entire unit is fully enclosed, and you do have this protective lens here that you can see through. So you don't really have to wear your glasses here in the shop while you're running this as long as you have the door closed. So the reason for the riser base is so that if you're engraving thicker materials, you can actually open this up, and if you look, your tray can slide in and out, and there's actually multiple different notches here that you can pull it out and lower it down for thicker material, or pull it out and rise it up for thinner material, kind of like, a tray in an oven. If you've got a big turkey pan, you put it all the way on the bottom, or if you've just got a cookie sheet, you put it all the way on the top. Very similar concept here with this riser base. That's going to be nice. I know on my old engraver, I could raise the entire engraver up and lower it, but what I would do to do that was kind of hokey. I would just take 2x4 blocks and put it underneath all four corners to raise the whole thing up, and then if I needed to lower it down, I would pull those blocks out. This is nice because you've got it all included in just one tray here. The riser base is also nice because if you do have a larger piece of wood that's longer this way, you can actually drop your, let's call this the cookie sheet, drop it down, and now the back door also opens, and so you could conceivably slide a piece in all the way through the back, and let's say it was 10 feet long and you wanted to engrave something in the very center of it, you can get that whole piece in there and still engrave and not have to completely disassemble the riser base. Another thing that this has is autofocus. So on my old laser, I used to have to manually set the height of the laser head so that the image would be focused and I'd have nice, crisp, clean edges. This thing does it for you automatically. You set where on the material you want to start engraving. It'll go over and take a measurement, drop a pin, and then go back to its home, and it'll automatically set the height of the laser head to give you the most clean, crisp images or engravings possible. Another benefit I've noticed with this new engraver so far is it is quiet. My old engraver, I didn't really realize it at first, but it's loud. I actually took a decibel meter to both engravers just to compare. This was clocking in about 67 to 70 decibels, which is just below the line of what is considered safe sound. Anything above 70 is considered, that's where hearing loss can start to happen. I clocked my old engraver at about 80 to 90 decibels, depending on how close you were to the laser head. And what it is, it's the fan inside the laser that's cooling it, that it just has a very high-pitched hum to it. I know a lot of times when I'm in here in the shop, I won't go get hearing protection when I'm running that laser, but if I already have them on and I'm running the engraver, I'll leave them on. I won't take them off. That's how loud and annoying the old engraver is. So the fact that this one is super quiet is a big plus for me. Now the last improvement with this laser engraver over my old one, and I think this is the biggest one, is that Xtool gives you for free their very own laser engraving software called Creative Space. Now, if you know anything about laser engraving, most people use a software called Lightburn. It's $120 a year that you have to purchase that's a subscription. Xtool just gives you a software that is a lot more user-friendly, and there's one other thing that you get with this laser that I really like, and that is the twin point positioning system that allows you to basically pinpoint exactly where your engraving is going to go on the material that you're engraving. That's going to be a huge help for me because there's sometimes where I spend 5-10 minutes just trying to get my engraving centered on the piece, and then even then I'm still off by a 1/4 of an inch to a 1/2 inch sometimes. And so it's going to save me a lot of time and let me be a lot more accurate with the products that we're sending out to our customers. So with all that said, let's go ahead and get this thing fired up. And I want to do a test cut first to see get all my settings dialed in to know what my ideal speed and power settings need to be with Cherry that I'm engraving on here. And that'll give me a little template to use for future use. I'll show you what that looks like here right now. All right, so real quick, I wanted to show you guys the autofocus feature as well as the twin point positioning system. So if you look on the screen right now, you can see this red X is showing you where on the cutting platform the laser is. So that red X on the screen matches up with the red X on the laser. And that's another big improvement over my old laser, is I had no idea where my laser actually was in the middle of the laser head. So having a display there that shows you that red crosshair is really nice. But to start the autofocus feature, we're going to go over to processing and hit this little bullseye under distance, and that is going to take a measurement. You'll see that it drop down as soon as it touches. Now it's going to return home, lock in that measurement reading, and go back to where we started. And then now we can go ahead and start marking. Choose rectangle, start marking. And then now I'm going to move this all the way up to the upper left-hand corner of this piece of wood. Okay. And then I'm going to hit this button. That's the first mark. Now I'm going to manually move the laser head down to the bottom right-hand corner. Right there. And hit the button again. 0.2. So now I'm going to hit end marking. And done. And that is going to show me on my work platform within the Creative Space where I'm working within the grid of the laser's cutting capability. So now I'm going to drag our test platform. So now we have 3 things marked within the Creative Space. This large border here, this is the cutting capacity of the gantry. The laser will not cut outside this because it doesn't have enough travel. Then we have marked the upper left-hand corner and the bottom right-hand corner of our board within the engraving surface of the S1. And then from there, we just have to make sure that what we want to engrave is within the confines of the board. So now we should be ready to go. So there's our first color swatch of Cherry, and I can already tell you this is going to be so useful and make me so much more of a skilled laser engraver, because now I can pick exactly what color, what depth I want. I mean, you can see once we got down to 60, 70, 80, 90, 100%, I just turned those off because they were basically cutting all the way through this 7/8 inch thick Cherry. But if you're going for speed, 300 millimeters per second, you pick which one here you want that's not going to be too burnt. And then if you're going more for color, you'd probably want to go, down here where you get that nice dark rich brown. Up here is more of a walnut looking color. This is just so useful to pick what color, what depth you want. Are you trying to eliminate any of this overburn? Because once you start getting into your higher settings, you're going to have overburn that you're going to have to sand off. I will do this for every single new material I put on that engraver. All right, guys, there you go. 9 more custom laser engraved signs, 1 custom engraved chainsaw bar, and 20 business cards here. In case you were wondering, each one of these signs takes about an hour and 20 minutes on the laser engraver. So adding that second engraver really cuts down on the engraving time. If I were to do this with just 1 engraver, that's about 13 hours worth of engraving. And with 2, it cuts it in half and makes it about 6.5 hours. So that takes this from a 2-day project to a 1-day project. Now that new 16 5/16 skill saw, that thing was an awesome investment. I don't know if you guys could tell, but it cut through that 3-inch thick white oak like butter. And having such a big blade, when you get into some big wood like that, it actually helps it track truer as well. So it wasn't wanting to wander and make, crooked cuts. It actually cut in a pretty straight line. So I'm very happy with that purchase, and that's going to be used for multiple things between construction with 6x6s outside, as well as working with bigger material here in the shop. Now, as far as the new Xtool S1 goes, I am extremely impressed with that unit. That twin point positioning system is probably my favorite thing about that engraver. It just helps you line up your engraving so much faster and more accurately and saves you a lot of time. One other thing I forgot to mention when we did the overview is it has a really nice drag chain on it, which is a big improvement over my old one. I know in the past I have actually had that engraver cut itself off because one of the wires or the air hose or something got in the way of the travel of the laser head, and it actually had a hard limit stop. And so the fact that that has all of your cords and air hoses and everything nice and neat and tidy in a drag chain, you're never going to have to worry about them getting in the way of the travel of the laser head. But as far as the signs that we made this week, we actually have a couple of firsts. This one here is the first time that we have done a photo engraving. It came out awesome. It actually really impressed me. I was surprised with how well it did. If you have a photo that you want to have engraved on a cherry slab or a white oak slab, the only thing is it has to have plenty of light, because you're dealing with white and black, and if you've got a lot of shadows or the picture is really dark, it's just not going to engrave well. This picture here was a perfect example of really good lighting in the picture, and it came out awesome. The other one was adding kind of a watermark in the background. So this one's going to be a wedding gift for November of 2024, and they wanted the V for their last name to be kind of a watermark in the background. It was the first time we've tried doing that, and that came out really good as well. But I feel like what we are doing here is kind of the definition of the American dream. We are starting a small business here in our garage. And if you look back at the 40s, 50s, and 60s, that was the American dream, starting a business in your garage. And that's what we're doing. And we've probably done 40 or 50 signs now, and that has made a meaningful impact on our monthly and annual income for the house here. And when I'm self-employed, we're just trying to grab different revenue streams between YouTube and Facebook and selling firewood and lumber and now these custom laser engraved signs and chainsaws and business cards and whatever we can string together so we don't have to go work for the man anymore. So anyway, guys, that's going to wrap up this one. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, give me a big thumbs up, click that subscribe button, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching.